Welcome back to Film Flashback, where I take a look at movies and shows to see what makes them great or what could have made them better. I am your host, MD, and this time I wanted to go over why The Mandalorian is no longer about The Mandalorian. But before we begin, here's your warning that there are major spoilers ahead. The moment Din Djarin got baptized in the living waters of Mandalore so he could become a Mandalorian once more, the story focus shifted from him to Bo Katan. The name of the show could have been called Bo Katan and everyone else. And don't get me wrong, these were all really good episodes, but because we started off the season with the importance of the baptism to the Mandalorian religion by showing this foundling, and with the understanding of what it means to our hero, it set our expectation of what should come next. But that didn't happen. Instead, here's what we saw after Din Djarin's baptism. Bo Katan saw the mythosaur, which shifted the focus to her instantly. Episode 3 showed her home planet being destroyed, and while they flew to a new location, we jumped to an entirely different story about Elia Kane and Dr. Pershing, which were two lesser-known characters. The whole point of this episode was to show that the New Republic was flawed and evil people like Kane were in their midst still wreaking havoc. Again, this was a really good story, but it didn't need an entire episode dedicated to it. I was far more interested in seeing where Bo Katan and Mando were going than this. We eventually find out, but Din Djarin was clearly not the star of this episode and had just a few minutes of screen time. Episode 4 gave us more backstory on what happened to Grogu during Order 66 that was really interesting. I had never heard of Keller and Beck before, but I always love anything Jedi. And that's another issue. Grogu didn't really do anything in this season either. We didn't see him grow as a character or have any real struggle. As for this episode, we watched Bo Katan lead a group of Mandalorians by taking down this monster while Mando saved the child. This made everyone, including the armorer, trust her even more. Episode 5 showed Bo Katan lead the way in taking down the pirates so they can reclaim the planet of Navarro. These two episodes just reinforced her as the leader of the season. Episode 6 reminded me so much of my beloved Law & Order show. Bo Katan the good cop, Mando the bad cop. There's a crime scene where they look over the evidence, go to a coroner who reveals important clues. There's always a chase, and ultimately find the one behind it all. Every step of the way, Mando seems to take a back seat to her. Check out the framing here when she reacquires the Darksaber. He looks like the sidekick watching the main character finally acquire their weapon. This is a very important moment since the blade is supposed to unite all of Mandalore. At least that's what we're told. In episode 7, Bo Katan leads the others to reclaim their homeworld. The Mandalorian even says he will follow her and gives her words of encouragement when she questions if she's able to pull this off. These are actions of a side character. They help support the main character so they can achieve their goal. Din Djarin still has great moments throughout, but it's very clear that this show is all about someone else. Something similar happened in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ben Kenobi may have been the main character, but the much maligned third sister Reva really moved the story forward, which made it feel like it was her show. I think there are two reasons why the main character gets reduced to a sidekick. One, the studio is using the popularity of this show to promote a new one. In the second season of The Mandalorian, the 5th episode titled The Jedi was really about introducing Ahsoka Tano, who will have her own series later this year. What better way to promote a new show than to dedicate an entire episode to a character in an already established one? And it worked because I'm really interested to see what happens next. Or two, the main storyline was already resolved and they ran out of ideas for what to do next. The focus of The Mandalorian was to get the child to his own kind, and he achieved this goal at the end of season 2. And since they're back together, now what? I thought it was going to be all about Din Djarin's baptism, but they already resolved that. This reminded me of another show I used to love called Lost. This was all about a group of people who crash landed on a mysterious island. One of the characters, Kate, had a pretty interesting story since she was a criminal being escorted in handcuffs, but the only one who knew just happened to die shortly after the crash. It was fun watching Kate try to hide her secret as others closed in. And once the truth was revealed, there is nothing left for her character to do. I think the reason why The Mandalorian is no longer about him is because the studio wanted to promote other shows. It was decided that Mando had to take a back seat in his own show so the Star Wars universe could be expanded. I also think the same thing happened in Obi-Wan Kenobi. It seemed pretty clear Reva was supposed to live on so she could be used in the future. She's the only one in all of Star Wars to survive a lightsaber to the gut, not once, but twice. The first time when she was little, and again later on as an adult. So Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn died because of this, but she lives? Really? I'm certain we will see the likes of Elia Kane, Axe Wolves, and of course Bo Katan in future shows. And while that's all well and good, I really tune in to see The Mandalorian. I hope the next season goes back to Din Djarin as the lone gunman single-handedly taking people down while Grogu learns to master the Force. Now that is what made the show great. And there you have it, why I think The Mandalorian is no longer about The Mandalorian. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of the show and this video. Also, please like and subscribe so you can check out future videos on my channel. As always, thanks for watching.